So this workshop is called Have Fun Running Lines. It's designed for sort of 8 to 12-year-olds, but I think it could be used for anybody a little bit younger or a little bit older as well. Anywhere up to people in their 80s if they really want to. Now, the basic idea behind this whole workshop is that poetry is like a PE lesson, but it's better because you don't have to be good at running to write good poetry. So what we're going to do throughout today is that we're going to get our bodies moving and we're going to get our minds moving, and we're going to work out how those two things are connected and how do they all run together. And ultimately, you're going to leave with the ideas for how to start a poem. Maybe you'll have written a whole poem by the end of it, but again, people run at different speeds. Some of you will be marathon runners who can jog for ages and slowly get there. Others of you will be sprinters and you'll be there at the end. Some of you will be walkers. Some of you will be crawlers. All of those are absolutely fine because poetry works on a different timeline to anything else. That's what's so joyful about it. I believe that poetry is the best way of communicating yourself to the world. It is the best way of getting the world to understand you. And it's the best way of you understanding the world. The first step to this is getting ourselves feeling really connected and in our bodies. Okay? We all have different kinds of bodies. We all can do different things. We are different heights, different shapes, different sizes, all of that. But what we're going to do is try and focus in on our bodies before we start anything. So we're going to do a thing just to get us warmed up in our bodies, a bit like stretching before you play a football match, is we are going to do a thing called, and it's got a big, long, slightly scary title, but then we'll work out how simple it is in a minute. It's a bit like poetry. It can seem like big, long and scary, but actually it's really simple. This is called Progressive Muscle Relaxation Technique, or PMRT, which is, Progressive Muscle Relaxation Technique. Sounds really long and scary. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through our whole body, and poetry can make us feel really tense. It can make us feel sort of worried. It can make us feel scared. It can also make us feel fun and full of adrenaline. So this is a way of calming down both of those things and being able to approach it slowly and more easily. So progressive muscle relaxation technique is when we work through our body and we tense each muscle just slightly, and then we relax it. So we go into this session just feeling much more relaxed. So our bodies are relaxed, so our minds are relaxed. So we're going to start with our foreheads. Okay, I want everybody to raise your eyebrows as high as you can for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, stop. Brilliant. Next thing I want you to do is we're going to scrunch up the middle of our face and close our eyes, so our nose, our cheeks, and our eyes for 3 seconds. And then we're going to stop. So, 1, 2, 3, stop. Brilliant. Next, you're going to make sure your teeth aren't clenching, and you're going to just tense your jaw just a little bit for 3 seconds, okay? So just make sure you're not clenching your teeth, and then 1, 2, 3, stop. Brilliant. Next, you're going to tilt your head back, and you're just going to tense your neck. 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, stop. Next, you're going to raise your shoulders up to your ears for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, stop. Now, your right bicep, so your right arm at the top, you are going to tense it like you're showing me your muscles. 1, 2, 3, stop. Now you're going to make a fist and clench your forearm. 1, 2, 3, stop. Now you're going to do the same the other side on your left arm. Like showing me your muscles. 1, 2, 3, stop. And then your lower forearm, make a fist. 1, 2, 3, stop. Okay, now as if you are hulking out, as if you are the Incredible Hulk, you're going to tense your chest and your stomach, and you're going to go like this, like you're trying to scare somebody for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, stop. Brilliant. Next, you're going to clench your bum cheeks. So 1, 2, 3, stop. This is the bit you can't really see, so you just got to imagine. And now you're going to tense all down your right leg. Just make it go really straight and rigid for 3 seconds. Balancing on your left leg, tense your right leg. 1, 2, 3, stop. Now do the same on your left leg. So right leg rooted to the floor. Tense your left leg. 1, 2, 3, stop. And finally, you're just going to grip the ground with your toes for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, stop. And now take a deep breath in and let it out. So now I feel a little bit more relaxed. Okay, so now we've got our bodies warmed up. We're now going to get our minds warmed up. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a thing called free thinking. So free thinking is when you just let your mind spiral. You just let it throw up any ideas it possibly can. We're not going to do any writing yet. We're just going to do free thinking. So you're just staying in your head for this. So I'm going to give you a category. So that category might be kitchen utensils. And you're going to think in your head of a list of as many kitchen utensils as you can. So you might think knife, fork, spoon, saucepan, hob, frying pan, and just keep listing them as many as you can. I'll give you 30 seconds for each one. Okay, so just in our heads, just on your own, you're just warming your brain up and making a list of the category that I give you in this free thinking exercise. Okay, so we'll do 15 seconds and I'll show it to you on my hands. So the first category for you to think of as many of these things as you possibly can is animals. Brilliant. Stop. Don't worry if you only got dog, that's absolutely fine. That was your brain just warming up. Okay, the second category that you're going to have 15 seconds to think of as many of these things as you can. The second category is colours. Colours. And stop. Good job. Okay, next you're going to think of as many different weather conditions as you can. So rain, sun, etc. 15 seconds to think of as many different kinds of weather. Stop. Brilliant. Finally, you are going to think of as many different kinds of things that you find in nature. Things that you find in nature. Just let your mind run wild. That's what this is all about. It's about running lines. 15 seconds to think of as many things you find in nature. There are no wrong answers. Go. Good job. Okay, so that's our bodies warmed up a bit, and that's also our minds warmed up a bit. We are now going to try and bring them both together, and we're going to do a little bit of writing. So what I'd like you to do, I'm just going to quickly share my screen so you can see what I am asking of you. I would like you to, we're going to make 3 lists. So if you have a piece of paper in front of you, just a piece of plain white paper, it can be lined as well, but just a piece of paper in front of you. And on the left-hand side of that paper, I want you to write the numbers 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the margin. Okay, take 10 seconds to do that. Brilliant. Okay, and then in the middle of the page, I want you to write the numbers 1 to 10 again. So right next to it, give a bit of space between the two, but just almost bang in the middle, 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then finally, I want you to do the same thing on the right-hand side of the page with a little bit of space left to write a word. Numbers 1 to 10. So you should end up with something, a sort of table that looks a little bit like this, a little bit of space to make these lists. Okay, what we're going to do is on the left-hand side, you are going to make a list of body parts, okay? So think of as many different body parts as you can. See if you can get 10, but don't worry if you don't, and just fill them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I will give you, I'll give you a minute to think of as many different body parts as you can. I'll be here with you typing some in. So my knees, my elbows. Keep going. Keep adding as many different body parts as you can. So I've got 6. See how many you can get, how many different body parts you can get. Okay. Next, as you can probably see from the list, I want you to make a list of adjectives. So if anyone can't remember, an adjective is a describing word. It's a word that describes a noun. So in this case, the noun might be this jumper that I'm wearing. What are any adjectives that you can imagine to describe it? And don't just go for the obvious. Don't just go for yellow. You can get that. What do you think it feels like? What do you think it smells like? What do you think how else would you describe it? So I might say beautiful. I might say comfy. I might say large. I might say, this isn't a real word, but I don't care. Schmuffy. Smuffy. Yeah, that's kind of a word. I might say fashionable. I flatter myself. And I might say great. It's a bit boring, that last one, but yeah. So think of as many different adjectives as you can. Maybe in your class, just you could have a big discussion about how you would describe this jumper, what adjectives you would use. Okay. And finally, we're going to make a list of household objects. So any object that you might find in your house. So you could, if you are at home doing this on YouTube, then have a look around. If you're at school, then try and imagine, try and remember what's in your house. It can be anything. So I might say ironing board. I might say sofa. I actually have 2 sofas, so I'll say sofas. I might say TV. I might say doorways. I might say keys. I might say, what else might I say? Remotes. Okay, so have a think of as many different household objects as you can. I'll give you another 10 to 15 seconds to do that. Glass, mug, candle, spider plant. You can be specific, be strange, whatever you want. Okay. And the final thing I want you to do is just before the adjective, I want you to add a quick little word. So I'm going to add are, A-R-E, or is. And what you should have, so these were just random words that I plucked out of nowhere, is you should have the beginning of a sentence. So here are my 6 sentences. My knees are beautiful ironing boards. My eyes are comfy sofas. My nose is a large TV. My ears are schmuffy doorways. My feet are fashionable keys. My elbows are great remotes. Now, some of these might not make sense to you immediately, but some of them actually really make sense to me. The idea of my feet are fashionable keys. I like the idea that my feet open doors. My feet take me places. My feet are fashionable keys makes me think of like an action hero kicking down a door. I just kicked off my slipper. The other one that really got me was my ears are schmuffy doorways. The idea of my ears being like doorways into my head. The idea of like little people walking in and out of them. What a treat. So yeah, have a little think about if any of yours make sense. Try and match up your sentences so they look a little bit like this. I'll give you 10 seconds to have a look at this. So if anybody hadn't realized already, what we just looked at there are metaphors. So metaphors are when we take one thing and we compare it to another. We took, so for example, my toes are oversized spoons. We took our toes and instead of being literal about them, instead of describing them as wiggly or hairy or small, instead of being literal, we were metaphorical. And we said, my toes are oversized spoons. So instead of saying like, I've got big toes, which is a very literal thing to say, you say, my toes are oversized spoons, which is a more figurative, more metaphorical way of speaking. Brilliant. Okay, we're going to take that to the next level now. And I'm going to introduce to you the 3 different ways of writing, or in this case, running through a poem. It's also 3 different ways to answering a question. So I'll take you through the 3 different ways of answering a question, of reading or writing a poem are thus. You can tell it true, okay? So you can be really truthful about what you are saying. For example, if I were to ask you, how are you feeling? If you ask me right now, how am I feeling? I would say, if I was being completely honest, completely truthful with you, I would say, I am feeling anxious. I've never actually worked for Arvon like this before. I'm alone in my living room. I want to impress them. If I'm being completely honest, I want to impress your teachers. So I am feeling anxious. That is how I would say. So how are you feeling? And be completely honest. I feel, and then tell me how you are feeling. The second way you can answer a question is you can lie. So if I was going to lie to you, I might say, I feel confident. I don't, but I'm going to lie to you. I could say, I feel confident. I'm not worried at all about what anybody thinks of me. I am king of the world and I think I'm the best. It is a lie, but that is a really legitimate way of writing a poem or telling stories. Poems can be stories as well. So like sometimes we lie, we make up fictions. That's absolutely fine in the framework of a poem. So the 2 ways you can tell it true, you can tell a lie, or finally, and perhaps most interestingly, you can tell it strange. So telling it strange is a bit like, so if you're running a race and one person runs in a straight line, they're being really truthful. One person doesn't run at all, maybe they're lying. And the person who tells it strange is the person who runs in the opposite direction. The person who tells it strange is the person who zigzags across the racing track. So to tell it strange, if I said I feel, maybe I wouldn't say I feel anxious or I feel confident. Maybe instead of saying I feel anxious, I would say I feel like 3 cats in a postbox. Or maybe instead of saying I feel confident, I'd say I feel like a fridge that's just been plugged in. Instead of saying I feel sick, I might say I feel bad eggs and gone off cheese. There are so many different ways of saying how you feel. So take a minute and try and think about, if you were to tell me how you feel in a strange way, in a different way, how would you feel? Take a second to think, I feel, and then tell it to me strange, whilst I pop up on the board how those things work. True, false, strange. I feel, be honest. I feel, tell a lie. Or I feel, be strange. So we have those 3 ways of writing a poem, answering a question: true, false, strange. Okay, you can return. We're going to return to that in a minute, but first we're going to play a quick game. So this game is called This Is My, and if you are in a classroom, then I'm going to give the teacher a second, and you can, if you put people into groups of 3. That would be great. And once you're in a group of 3, you can label yourselves A, B, and C. If you're doing this on your own, don't worry. You just do that on your own in your bedroom or wherever you are. I'm doing it on my own here. Poetry is a great thing to do on your own. It is also a team sport. Again, coming back to poetry is like PE, but it's both a thing where you can just go for a run on your own, or it's a thing that you can do in a big team. So groups of 3, A, B, C. If you are on your own, you can get your mum and dad in for this one as well. Or whoever else is looking after you. This is a game called This Is My. And we're going to go along the same idea of true, false, strange. The first person, person A, is going to say, this is my. And they're going to say something true. So, for example, they might say, this is my hand. Or they might pick something up near them and say, this is my candle. This is my candle. Or I might say, this is my yellow jumper. Oh no, I stick with that. This is my yellow jumper. So person A, say something true. This is my, and then tell me something true that is around you. Now, person B, you are going to tell a lie. You are going to say, this is my, and you're going to hold up the thing, and then you're going to lie about it. So tell me something that's not. So for example, I might say, this is my roast beef sandwich. It clearly isn't, it's my yellow jumper, but I'm going to lie to you. This is my roast beef sandwich. And finally, person C, you are going to tell me something strange. Tell me something different. So instead of saying, this is my yellow jumper, I might say, this is my custard-covered favourite song that keeps me warm throughout the night. This is my custard-coloured favourite song that keeps me warm throughout the night. That's my new, different way of talking to you about my jumper, but in a new way. Okay? So go around and see if you can do that a couple of times. This is my, and then someone be honest, someone tell a lie, and then someone tell it strange. Okay, so you'll have some of this is mine, you'll have lots of different ideas. Okay, so why don't I share with you what came of me playing a game of This Is Mine a little while ago, and I will read you a poem that I think is really, it's about This Is Mine, it's about my yellow jumper. So, this is a poem called My Yellow Jumper. This is my yellow jumper. I wear it all day long, and every time I put it on, it's like I'm listening to my favourite song. This is my yellow jumper. I wear it all day long, and every time I put it on, it's like I'm listening to my favorite song. It's like I'm on top of the world, thinking anything is possible. I feel so indestructible, so fragrant and so beautiful, like I'm a walking daffodil, and I don't know if you can tell, but this is my yellow jumper. I wear it all day long, and every time I put it on, it's like I'm listening to my favorite song. Bright as a carnival, so special and so beautiful, so indescribable, like custard, like mustard, or like everything you've ever trusted. And when I get flustered, I remember that inside my cupboard, there's a yellow jumper. I wear it all day long, and every time I put it on, it's like I'm listening to my favorite song, or like I'm in a movie, dancing like I should be, on the top of the world, flying through the atmosphere, running loud, shouting loud, confident in front of the crowd, all because I'm so proud of my yellow jumper. I wear it all day long, and every time I put it on, it's like I'm listening to my favorite song. I wear it in all weathers. It's like a peacock's feathers. It's so pretty and so precious. I think it beats all others. So put your hands together for my yellow jumper. So what I did there is I took that first line of "This is my," and I turned it into a poem. I turned it into a poem celebrating my yellow jumper and how my yellow jumper makes me feel every time I put it on. My yellow jumper is basically like my favorite toy. It's my favorite thing to have. So your task is as follows. I'll just share my screen again so that it's clear. Start a poem with "This is my." Here are some suggestions. You could start a poem with "This is my basketball." And you could tell me all the different things about your basketball. Remember, to be true, you can lie if you want, and to use strangeness. So you might tell me, "This is my orange basketball." That's just true. You could also tell me about, "This is my comet that strikes through the air and swings through the net of the sky." You could start a poem with "This is my dog." And you could tell me about "This is my dog who scratches for bones beneath the surface of the earth." You could do something more abstract. You could say "This is my rain cloud," and tell me all about the rain clouds that you see in the sky, or the rain clouds that follow you around, maybe more metaphorical rain clouds. You could say "This is my sofa," and you could describe everything about the sofa that you love, how comfortable it is, where it's where you watch telly, where it's where you like cuddle with your family. Or you could start a poem with "This is my best friend," and you could just write a poem all about why your best friend is the very best. You can make up lies about them. You can tell me about how your best friend is actually the president of the world, and how they have solved world hunger, and how they also are a fashion designer, and they look really good in sequin dresses. Like, even if that's not true, you can lie. You can tell me anything you want. This is your poem. It is your thing to say. So teachers, I would advise that you give people maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe a whole lesson to write their "This is my." And here is the best piece of advice that I can give you for "This is my." When you've got to take that line and you've got to run with it. I'm going to stop the share now just so I can tell you about that. You've got to take that line and run with it. Remember what I said at the beginning, that poetry is like a PE lesson, but you don't actually have to be good at running. You can go at whatever pace you want. If you want to write very slowly and just consider each and every word, go for it. Or if you want to do the equivalent of that free thinking that we did at the beginning, but with a writing exercise where you just run as fast as you can for as long as you can until you get out of breath, do that. Or do some mixture of the two. Yeah? So just think about "This is my," and run with your poem as long or as slow as you want. Okay? So this has been my workshop, which is "Have Fun Running Lines" with Lewis Buxton. I want to say a quick thank you to Arvon, and I want you to take the time now to write your poems.